Davo Hickey plays his 100th NBL game on Sunday, and not only is he playing the best basketball of his career, but he's probably the most important individual player on any team in NBL 26. Now, that might seem like a stretch. He doesn't dominate points or get a whole bunch of rebounds or anything like that, but when you watch the Hawks with versus without him on the floor, there's a massive difference. But what exactly makes Davo so important and so good? Well, I just went and rewatched the Hawks' last 3 games. The less said about that Breakers game, the better. And I found a couple of really clear things that show why he is the most important player on this team. The first one, and to me the most important, is that it allows Tyler Harvey to play off the ball. I mean, we see Hickey bring the ball up, he controls the offense. Harvey gets down the floor, you can run a better play for him. He doesn't have to exert as much energy bringing the ball up and setting up the offense. Harvey not having to exert this extra energy, bringing the ball up, kind of battling through defense, things like that, even just the mental strain of not having to set up the offense, means that he can be more aggressive and exert more of his energy on offense. The same thing with a play like this. Through the first month of the season, it would have been Harvey who would have had to do this inbound. And instead, Hickey inbounds, Harvey gets an easy score, builds his confidence back up, and it's easy. And these two have played together for a couple of years now, so they know how each other's game works. And Davo knows that once Harvey hits a couple of shots and gets rolling, then he can knock down, 15, 20 consecutive points and individually win the Hawks the game. This one kind of bleeds into my next point about Davo's height and his attacking the ring ability. But if this was a different guard and Tyler Harvey was still playing off the ball, that shot's not happening. Another guard, a Bawali Bales, isn't getting into the paint like that to allow Harvey to dive and finish that floater. The next is his ability to get 2 feet in the paint and finish or to draw contact. Now at 194 centimeters, he's a lot bigger than most guards, and he's normally guarded by the point guard because he's the point guard. So he can use his size advantage, his long first step to get to the ring. He also does this really interesting move where he basically gets 1 foot in the paint and then just stops and lets the defender blow by, or does that like we just see there, makes it a lot easier for him to draw contact. He also does a lot of, really simple pick and roll plays, whether it's with McGee or with Mason Peatling, whoever it may be. And then that just creates a lot of havoc for the defense because you can't leave JaVale McGee open because he's going to dunk it. Even if he's being defended, he's going to dunk it. But because he's a really good point guard and a willing passer, he'll also, if the better option is to dump it off, he'll do that. It also creates a lot of offensive rebounding opportunities for McGee. I mean, McGee has had more offensive rebounds in the 4 games with Hickey in the lineup versus every game before that to start the season. It's also like this, like we see in a fast break, where he can put it down, doesn't matter who's in front of him, he's going to explode to the ring and finish or draw the contact. I mentioned easier baskets for JaVale McGee, but I really want to highlight that a little bit more. Through the first couple of rounds of the season, before Davo was back in the team, JaVale had to work so hard for pretty much every single basket that he had to get. And I say had to get very specifically because no one else was really scoring for Illawarra. But look at this, an easy pass, yes he's triple teamed, but he's a foot taller than every single one of those players. JaVale's played 30 plus minutes in 2 of the last 3 games for Illawarra after only playing 30 plus in 1 of the previous games this season. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that he has to work nowhere near as hard for Illawarra right now. Before he had to do everything. Now he just kind of has to be in the right place at the right time. I want to highlight this play specifically because it shows the strength of having a true point guard. So Davo has the ball in the opposite corner. McGee is going to come across and post up right on the no charge circle. And watch the angle of this pass. Instead of kind of going to the dunker's spot, he's throwing it basically to the baseline, and that's kind of signifying to McGee that, hey, you've got all this space open, you can attack this way. So even when the triple team comes, he's got an open lane to the ring because there's no one, the help man comes a step later, he's right on the split line, is Mawat Mag. So JaVale just rises up. Yes, he gets a lot of contact, but if that pass wasn't in that exact spot, There's no way that he's scoring there. That's the impact of a true point guard. And again, just another really nice pass here. Davo, eyes up, always surveying, perfectly weighted pass, sees the mismatch. That wasn't happening a couple of weeks ago. Another area that was a major concern for the Hawks was the offense when McGee was not on the floor. But having Davo out there is just highlighting the ball moving so much faster, they're getting much easier baskets. And a lot of it is just because there's a calmness out there now. There's a direction, there's a point guard on the floor that can do things like that. Pass the ball, tell people where to be, set everyone up, but is still calm in that moment. I mean, at the start of the season, when JaVale would go off, there would be so much individual offense, there would be rushed shots, bad looks. Now we're getting even interesting shots that maybe we shouldn't be taking are looking better. And a lot of it is really simple point guard stuff. We can see Davo in transition, surveying the floor, eyes up, finds the shooter, gets the open three, and he's pretty happy about it. Another one is his timing on defense. I mean, he leads the league in blocks per game. He averages 2.3 blocks per game, which is ridiculous for anyone, let alone a point guard. And while yes, some of them are flashy blocks like this on the fast break where he times it well, but he has a really good ability to time his jump on closing out on threes. The amount of blocks that he gets like this is kind of ridiculous. He spent a lot of this game against Melbourne guarding Milton Doyle, who kind of plays a similar position to him, that kind of 1-3 hybrid, and he dominated this matchup. But when you've got your point guard blocking the opposition center, and it's not a ridiculous like highlight kind of play, like it's not unheard of, that's when you know you've got a solid player. Even on a play like this, where there was a miscommunication on the defender, and Jack McVay just cheats out to look to nearly get an open three, he still manages to recover with his timing. And again, in a play like this, where he's taken in a low block by a bigger, better, if we're being honest, player, and he times it perfectly, that shot by Jack McVay never gets blocked, but Davo just had it on a string. I think a more underrated part of the impact that he has is that it allows the other guards to play their natural game. I mean, QJ Peterson, a guy that was brought in to come off the bench and be a spark plug, is allowed to do exactly that. Whether Davo is on the floor or not, when QJ is on the floor, it's his team. It's his to kind of take pretty much whatever shot he wants to get his game going. Whereas if he was in the starting lineup, there'd be JaVale McGee, there'd be Tyler Harvey, he'd be third in line, and he wouldn't fit into this team whatsoever. Not every import is brought into the league to be the superstar of their team, to be the face. Some are brought in to be a role player. Then you've got a guy like Bawali Bales, who comes in and is just a nuisance on defense. He's going to pick you up 94 feet. He's going to be right up in your shorts. And again, that's a very different look to Davo and to QJ. So although he doesn't play a whole lot of minutes, you're going to feel those minutes. And sometimes they play with two or even all three of them on the floor. Davo slides down to the three. And then you've got this other really unique looking team. Now I know off the top that I said stats don't mean everything, and I stand by that. But if that doesn't convince you enough, in the 3 games that Davo has started, he had 20 assists, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 4 blocks against Adelaide. He had 18, 7, 7, and 2 blocks against Melbourne. And then he finally got the triple-double, 19 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, and 3 blocks against Cairns. So he's getting all of these stats, and he's doing everything that I just showed you on the videos. Sure, JaVale McGee gets the flashy dunks and scores more points, but Davo does everything for this team. He's plus 26 across the last 3 games, and the team just looks so much better. The Hawks looked horrible at the start of the year, then they got Davo back, now they look really good. And as McGee said,
I think that was our missing piece. Every game he's played, we've had a different energy, a different pace, a different respect for that position. So I just feel like they can't guard me and him